Today, we're going to make 6 quick, easy, and affordable Halloween crafts. In this tutorial, we'll create lanterns with Halloween designs, Stranger Things themes, and horror movie motifs. We'll also make Halloween decorations featuring Mexican sugar skull garlands, a mysterious project that you'll discover later, classic paper Halloween garlands, a creepy head in a jar, and finally, a picture frame that turns into a Halloween lamp. So let's jump right into our first project, this lantern. For this, you'll need a sheet of white cardstock or thick paper. Here, I'm using 200-gram watercolor paper. You'll also need a ruler, a craft knife, some white glue, and a color printer to print 2 copies of these designs. We've got Halloween designs, Stranger Things, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, Jason, and even Chucky. You'll find the download link in the description, and the best part, it's completely free. So, once you've printed your design, just cut out the edges with scissors or a craft knife. Fold it in half, then fold the little tabs on the sides. You'll notice there's a fold mark about 1 centimeter from the edge. That's your guide. Now, repeat the same process with a second design, so you end up with 2 pages that will glue together using those tabs. Let it dry, and this is what you get. This step is optional, but you can also make a base for the lantern using another design I've left for you to download as well. For lighting, you can use a small candle, but only if the lantern is outside and there's no fire risk. With the candle inside, it looks like this. If we're going to use the lantern indoors, we can just place an old phone flashlight inside, one we don't use anymore, and it looks like this. Another option is a headlamp. They're only about $5, and the cool thing is, they give you both a cold white light and a red light, which looks super spooky. And that's it for this version. Now, let's move on to option 2 of our lantern. This one is a bit more elaborate, designed so you can spend some quality craft time with your kids, grandparents, or even friends. Here's what we'll need. Black cardstock, the printed template, you'll find the link in the description, an X-Acto knife, ruler, white glue, and some tape. You can also check out the extra Halloween and Stranger Things designs I've left. They're pretty awesome too. We'll start by applying a thin layer of glue on the black cardstock and placing the printed design on top. Then we reinforce the edges with tape so it stays firmly in place. Next, with the craft knife, we cut out all the black lines, making sure to cut through both the sheet and the cardstock. If some parts don't cut all the way, just flip it over and finish from the back. Now we add a sheet of white paper, or any color you like. Ideally, something thin enough to let the light shine through. Trim it so it fits inside without sticking out on the edges. Then glue it behind the cutout design. Done! Repeat the same process with a second design. Fold the little tabs, glue them together, and your lantern is ready. Here's how it looks lit with a candle. And here's how it looks with a headlamp. And finally, with a phone flashlight. Of course, it looks even better once you place it alongside the rest of your Halloween decorations. Alright, let's move on to project 2. A garland of Mexican sugar skulls. For this, we'll print out 2 versions. One in black and white, so we can color it ourselves, and another one that's already in full color. Let's start with the black and white one. We can paint it with watercolors, markers, colored pencils, acrylic markers like Posca, my personal favorite, or even regular acrylics. You can also use a pen, fine liner, or just shade with graphite pencils or gray markers. Pastels or chalk could work too, although honestly, I don't recommend them. They're messy and smudge easily. And here's what each technique looks like once finished. The idea is to just pick whichever style you like best. After coloring the skulls, we cut them out, leaving about a 3mm border. And then paint that border with bright colors to really make the skull pop. We do the same with the pre-colored skulls too. Once that's done, we tape the skulls to a thin string to create a garland. You can hang it across a door or on the wall, something like this. But if you really want them to shine, tape them directly onto a string of fairy lights, like the ones you use for your Christmas tree. And there you go. The result is super festive and looks amazing. What I love about this decoration is that it's quick, easy, and very affordable. And now, it's time to reveal project number 3. Now we're going to make Halloween paper toys. They work perfectly as decorations, and you can even turn them into mini lanterns for a garland like in the previous project. To create them, just print the templates. These designs aren't mine, but you'll find the download links in the description, along with credits to the original authors. Print them on cardstock, and then it's time to cut, and cut, and cut. At first, I tried using an X-Acto knife, but honestly, it takes forever, so I definitely recommend scissors. Once everything is cut out, just apply some glue and stick the little tabs together.
The main characters you can print are Pennywise the clown from It, Freddy Krueger, this Frankenstein with a removable head,
Billy the puppet from Saw, Jason from Friday the 13th, a mini werewolf, a zombie, Dracula, another zombie, this Frankenstein that opens his mouth, another monster with a moving jaw, 2 tiny bats, and even a little coffin that works as a candy box or for storing small things. Plus, there are other designs included in the file as well. Once they're assembled, you can place them around the house as decoration, or even at the office. And if you make a little hole on top of the head, you can pop them onto the bulbs of a string light garland. They look awesome, especially if you mix them with the sugar skulls from the previous project. Alright, let's move on to project 4. These are your classic paper garlands. We're going to make garlands of pumpkins, ghosts, spiderwebs, skulls, spiders, and more. Here's how. Start with a letter-size sheet of paper, fold it into a square, cut it, fold it in half into a triangle, then fold again, and once more. Now take this template, trace it onto the folded paper, just make sure you draw it on the correct side. I like adding parallel guidelines so I know exactly where to cut and where not to. Cut along the white spaces with scissors, and for details like the eyes, you can use a craft knife. And when we unfold it, it looks like this. If you don't have a knife, no problem, you can just draw the eyes with a white marker. If you make several of these, you can string them together into a garland like this.
For the second model, repeat the same process.
Square, fold, 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 use the template, cut, unfold, and you get this. For the third design, same idea, just with a different template. And here's how it looks. The fourth design is a bit different. Take a letter-size sheet, cut it in half, glue the 2 halves together, fold it in half once, then again, and again. This time, we'll use the spider template. Trace it, cut it, and it should look like this. Connect a few together, and the result is a chain of spiders. For the fifth design, same process with a different template, and it comes out like this. To keep the video short, those are the main models you can make, each with its own template.
Alright, let's move on to project 5. The human head in a jar. For this one, I'll be using a photo of the Rock's head, but ideally, you'd take a selfie or use a photo of someone else. Then we go to ChatGPT, upload the picture, and ask it to change the expression so it looks like the person is asleep. Here's the before and after. Looks great, right? Next, we take this new sleeping face image and run it through another prompt. Feel free to pause the video here to copy it. Click Generate, and what we get is exactly what we need. A flattened 2D version of the face. Print it, cut the edges, and then cover the whole image with overlapping strips of clear packing tape, about 1 to 1.5 centimeters overlapped each time. The key is to avoid air bubbles because they'll be very noticeable. Once you've covered the whole front, flip it over and repeat the same process on the back. Trim the edges, and here's what it should look like.
Now grab a glass jar, like the kind used for pickles. I got mine at IKEA for about €3. It's called Corkin. Place the image inside with water. At first, I miscalculated the size, so I had to trim it and reapply the tape. But once it fits, it looks like this. For lighting, I used this little lamp I bought on AliExpress, though you can also find it on Amazon. It changes colors, lasts anywhere from 1 to 3 hours depending on brightness, and I've included the name and reference in the description in case you want to get one. And this is the final result. One more tip. Add a plastic bag at the bottom to hide the seam between the photo and the jar. And if you want to take it to the next level, add a few drops of food coloring. If you use yellow light with blue dye, the water glows green. It looks super cool.
And that's it for Project 5. Now let's move on to the 6th and final project. This one is a paper light box that looks like a regular box during the day, but at night it turns into a glowing lamp like this. We'll need heavy paper, like cardstock. Here I'm using 200-gram watercolor paper. You'll also need the templates, which I've linked in the description. And a 13 by 18 centimeter frame. I got mine from IKEA for about €3. Print the templates and cut them out with an X-Acto knife. In my case, I used a cutting machine my girlfriend has, which makes the process super satisfying. Removing the cutout pieces is oddly relaxing. Then, disassemble the frame, also very satisfying. And cut the inside border about 1 centimeter smaller. Use the leftover cardboard to cut thin strips, which we'll glue to the templates to create separation between the layers. Glue each layer one by one until you build up the whole 3D effect. The final result should look like this. For lighting, I'm using CR2032 batteries, along with this little battery switch,
which you can find on AliExpress or Amazon. We'll also need a flexible silicone LED strip. Here on screen are the exact names of the materials. Connect it to the switch, solder it in place, attach it to the back of the frame.
Finally, once we've added all the layers, it's basically impossible to close the frame. So just use some tape to hold it together, and you can also stick the switch to the back. And here's how it looks during the day, and here's how it looks at night. I even made a Chucky version, which turned out like this. And that's it. These were the 6 Halloween decoration projects. If this video was helpful to you, or you find some value in it, please subscribe and give it a like. I wish you all a very happy Halloween, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!